Greetings and welcome. It's always good to be here with you. It is always good to have you here with me. Now let's get into it. Tyler Perry is facing legal backlash to the tune of $260 million from an actor who appeared in his BET drama The Oval. The actor is accusing the media mogul of a quid pro quo sexual harassment, sexual battery, and retaliation, among other counts. Now let's get into this. Welcome back. Now, the filmmaker and actor Tyler Perry was hit with a $260 million sexual assault and harassment lawsuit on June the 13th. Perry, the man behind the popular franchise Medea, shows like Duplicity and Sisters and a slew of network originals, is being sued by actor Dixon. The two first met when Dixon worked at the opening party for Tyler Perry Studios. Now, in his lawsuit, Dixon alleges that Perry encouraged him to try his hand at acting, offering him TV roles in Ruthless and later The Oval. Dixon accepted the job but is alleging that during his employment, Perry sexually harassed him, groped him, and then retaliated against him when he did not reciprocate Perry's unwanted advances. According to the complaint, Perry, who is reportedly worth $1.5 billion, said through his attorney that he let someone get close to him, but that he now considered the relationship was nothing more than setting up a scam. So Tyler Perry is basically saying this is false. Nothing happened between him and Dixon, and what Dixon is suing him for is basically a lie. What does the full lawsuit claims? Now, Dixon, who became a series regular on Perry's show, The Oval, is suing for sexual and work harassment, along with sexual battery and sexual assault, as well as other claims, and seeking $260 million in damages, according to his 46-page lawsuit filed in Los Angeles earlier this month. Dixon said Perry first took interest in him in September 2019 while he was working at Perry's studio party. When Dixon said he wanted to be an actor, Perry encouraged him and later cast him in two shows on BET and BET Plus, The Oval and Ruthless, and Oval spin-off. In it, he played a gay, homeless, and desperate store clerk who had to sleep with one of the other characters for a place to stay. What a coincidence. What a movie role he played. What a role he played. And I've spoken about this before. You know, men just giving away their manhood and doing these things in shows, acting like they're gay, and my gosh, man. And then this happened. Who to tell? Maybe he's gay for real. I don't know. Maybe it is just his role, a role he played in the movie. I don't know. But this is something that no man should do, whether acting or in real life. Now, Dixon also alleges that once in his employed, Perry used his considerable influence in the entertainment industry to create a coercive sexual exploitative dynamic. Dixon claimed that what started as a promise of career advancement and creative opportunity, such as producing his pilot and casting him in his show, became a place of sexual harassment, assault, and battery, and professional retaliation when Dixon did not reciprocate Mr. Perry's unwanted advances. Dixon is also suing Tyler Perry Studios' production services. Now it gets a little bit graphic when we get down into some of the allegations that were made by Dixon, that are made by Dixon. Now, these are some of the allegations. Dixon alleges that on one occasion he was urged to stay the night at Perry's house after he had too much to drink without pajamas, haha. Dixon said he went to sleep in his underwear. That night, he alleges that Perry snuck into his bed and started rubbing his body around Dixon's inner thigh. Dixon said he immediately jumped out of bed, told Perry he wasn't sexual, and alleges that Perry told him to turn around so he could see him naked in his underwear. I get it when someone have their bills to pay and want to go into a movie role and want to link with some big time stars. But if all of those is going to come at the cost of your manhood, then I would have think someone like this would, take themselves away from the situation a long time ago. But as I've said, I don't know if Derek Dixon was gay or not. I don't know. But, this is just ridiculous to me. It is. Now, in another instance at Perry's house, Dixon alleges Perry encouraged him to try a weight monitor in the guest room, but he needed to undress for it to work. After Dixon was undressed, he alleges Perry pulled his underwear down and sexually groped his buttocks and told him to relax and to just let it happen, according to the complaint. Dixon claimed he diffuses the situation by telling Perry he couldn't do anything sexual because he was hungry. When Perry left to order food, Dixon claims he locked himself in the bathroom. First of all, he realized that Tyler Perry, and I'm saying allege, if this really happened, he realized that Tyler Perry was this type of person. I would have think you not being alone with someone like this, But no, you want a movie role and you want certain stuff to be done for you. So, okay, you put yourself in the position for these things to happen to you. Wow. Now, Dixon also alleges that Perry repeatedly talked to him about sex and asked him about his sexual preferences. He claims he worked with the constant fear of losing his job if he did not engage with and endorse Perry's sexual harassment, according to the complaint. Now, in one of the texts that was included in the lawsuit, stated, Perry allegedly stated, "What is going to take for you to have guiltless sex?" And remember, we're talking about two men here. When it's between a man and a woman, fornicating is wrong, but you're doing it the right way. But now we're talking so casual, and this is between a man and a man, and it is so disgusting, but this is what it says. It said that Perry allegedly stated, "What is going to take for you to have guiltless sex? Have y'all found that yet in therapy? Have y'all found that yet in therapy?" When Dixie told him that he wasn't into sex, Perry allegedly texted him, "I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend. Trust me. I hope you get past the block in your mind soon. I hope you get past the block in your mind soon," according to the complaint. Perry allegedly also text, "I haven't been touched in months," Dixon stated in his complaint. Now, this is disgusting. As I say, if this was between a man and a woman, then, it is what it is. Fornication. But between two men, this is way far out on the outfield. This is very disgusting. Now, Perry, through his attorney, Matthew Boyd, Perry releases a statement saying that while Dixon and Perry were close, it now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam. Boyd said Perry will not be shaken down and that they are confident these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. Now, did Dixon say anything after this? No, Dixon hasn't posted anything on social media about the lawsuit or Perry's reaction, but his lawyer, Jonathan J. Delshad, shared the following statement. I can only assume that Perry attorney did not bother to read the text message sent by Tyler Perry prior to making these comments. Knee-jerk comments made without looking at the evidence is a way to enable further sexual harassment. Now, this is sick. This is heinous. Good choice of word used by me. Yes, this is heinous. This is crazy. And things like this, I'm not saying that this is true. Let me just get this out there, because I definitely know when you're in the public eyes and you are a multimillionaire, people will do things, but at the same time, many times these things come out, men being sued for things like these. And it is surprising when you read everything surrounding the case, and you realize that the person that went through all of the harassment, the rape or grape, in some instances, they subject themselves to these things because they could have gotten out. But because of the status they want to portray, they want to keep up appearance, they want to roll with the crowd, they want to be on the big scenes and stuff like that. They subject themselves to things like these, things like these happen to them, and it is sad. No, I watched a video with Terrence. He was talking about the dark side of Hollywood. And of course, he was talking about some things about the Diddy parties as well. And I'm telling you, when a man goes that way, they lose something. And it is spiritual. And only God alone can bring them back to where they need to be, a true man. This is something. When a man goes the wrong way, they really lose something spiritual. And it is just a shame why men freely give up their manhood like this. So listen to this video.
When you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You should have a greater desire than being a man.
So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequence when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to f*** you. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. You know, when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that. But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it.
No, this is exactly what I'm saying. As a man in Hollywood, there are certain movie roles you should not play. It doesn't matter what, if you're going to lose out on whatever. There are certain movie roles you should just not play. Certain things you should just not do. If you realize that certain people is on the other side, stay away from them. And as our Terrence said, a guy is different from a man. You know, because if Tyler Perry was making all of these, advances at him, he should be a man and let it be known straight out without going around in a corner because he wanted a movie role or he wanted to do some kind of project with Tyler Perry. He should just make it be known that, hey, this is not what I'm here for. I'm not that type of man. So don't come back to me with anything like that ever again. You know, he should be firm about it. But as I've said, because of riches, because of money, because of the crowds that we want to be in, many people do things like this, and it's all for money. I hear they say money is the root of all evil, but it's the things that we do, to get the money, the things that people do to get the money, that is evil, that is a sin. Not necessarily the money, but the things that we do to get it. That's it from us today here on My Daily Views. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you once again for watching. Until next time, peace be.